Two men walk into a room. The first one enters loudly. He laughs a little too hard. He talks about himself before anyone asks. He fills every silence with noise because silence terrifies him. He scans the room constantly, checking to see who's watching, who's impressed, who's validating his existence. The second man enters differently. He walks in calmly. He doesn't announce himself. He finds his place, observes the room, and speaks only when he has something worth saying. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't need the room to notice him. And yet, here's what most people miss. The room notices him anyway. Now here's the question that will change how you understand attraction forever. Which man do you think the women in that room are genuinely drawn to? If you answered the quiet one, you're beginning to understand something that ancient philosophers knew 2,000 years ago. Something modern men have tragically forgotten. Something that separates men who are respected from men who are merely tolerated. Most men believe that attraction is built through words, through charm, through impressive stories and bold declarations. They believe they need to perform, to prove, to convince. They're catastrophically wrong. The Stoics understood a principle that neuroscience is only now confirming. Presence, not performance, creates genuine attraction. Stillness, not noise, signals true power. And the man who masters his silence masters the room. Today, I'm going to reveal 6 psychological principles that explain exactly why quiet men command deeper respect, and why women can sense the difference between a man who is quiet because he's weak and a man who is quiet because he's dangerously strong. If you've been exhausting yourself trying to be interesting, trying to fill every silence, trying to prove your worth through endless words, you're about to discover that the very thing you're doing is the thing pushing respect away. This isn't about becoming shy. This isn't about being passive. This is about understanding what the Stoics called the power of strategic stillness. And by the end of this video, you'll possess it. Principle 1, the gravity effect. There is a reason planets orbit the sun and not the other way around. The sun doesn't chase. The sun doesn't move toward the planets begging for their attention. The sun simply exists, massive, radiant, still, and everything else is drawn into its orbit by the sheer force of what it is. This is what I call the gravity effect. The average man operates like a desperate satellite. He orbits others. He adjusts his trajectory based on who he's trying to impress. He changes his stories, his opinions, his energy depending on who's in the room. He moves toward people hoping they'll stay. And women feel this. Instantly. Not consciously, but on a level deeper than conscious thought. They feel his neediness like a cold draft under a door. They sense that his identity depends on their approval. And that dependency, that constant movement toward validation, repels respect like opposing magnets. The Stoic man operates differently. He is the sun. He doesn't chase anyone's orbit. He doesn't adjust his trajectory for approval. He occupies his space fully, completely, unapologetically, and others are drawn toward him because of the gravitational weight of his presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, "Convince people you're a good man." He didn't say, "Explain your virtues." He said, "Be one." Silently. Completely. Without performance. Here is how to apply the gravity effect. Stop moving toward people energetically. Stop adjusting yourself to match what you think they want. Instead, become so grounded into you that others feel your stability and move toward you. Speak less. Mean more. Let your presence do what your words never could. When you master this, something strange happens. People start seeking your attention instead of you seeking theirs. Conversations feel different. You stop being the one who chases topics. You become the one others try to engage. You stop being background noise. You become the signal. Principle 2, emotional sovereignty. Here is a truth most men refuse to accept. Women do not respect a man based on what he says about himself. They respect a man based on what he does when pressure arrives. The ancient Stoics had a term for this. They called it the inner citadel. Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of history's greatest philosophers, taught that there is a fortress inside every man that external forces cannot touch unless that man opens the gates himself. Most men leave those gates wide open. Someone insults them. Gates fly open. Emotion floods out. Someone ignores them. Gates fly open. Insecurity pours out. Someone rejects them. Gates fly open. Desperation escapes. The foolish man has no walls. Every emotion is visible. Every reaction is immediate. His internal state is controlled entirely by external circumstances. And women recognize this man instantly because he cannot be trusted with difficulty. He cannot be trusted with leadership. He cannot be trusted with them. The Stoic man possesses what I call emotional sovereignty. He rules his inner world. Not because he doesn't feel, he feels deeply, but because he has trained himself to respond rather than react. His emotions pass through him like weather, but they do not govern him. Imagine a ship in a storm. The average man's ship has no anchor. It thrashes in every direction. Every wave controls its movement. The passengers, his thoughts, his decisions, his words are thrown around chaotically. The Stoic man's ship drops anchor. The storm still rages. The waves still crash. But the ship holds position. It rocks, certainly he's human, but it does not lose its center. And when women witness this, when they see a man who remains unmoved while others flail, something primal recognizes it. They see safety. They see strength. They see someone who could handle life's chaos without becoming chaotic himself. Here is your application. The next time you feel your emotions spiking, anger, insecurity, frustration, pause. Do not speak immediately. Let the wave pass through you without acting on it. Create a 2-second gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lives your sovereignty. Master this gap, and you master yourself. Master yourself, and respect follows like shadow follows form. Principle 3. The mystery premium. I need you to understand something that will contradict everything you've been taught. You have been told that attraction is built through sharing, through opening up, through letting someone know everything about you. You've been told that vulnerability means emptying yourself completely, showing every card, revealing every wound, explaining every thought before anyone asks. This is half true, and half-truths are the most dangerous lies. Here's what actually happens when a man over-explains himself. He becomes predictable, and predictability kills respect. Think of a movie you know every scene of. Would you pay to watch it again? Would you sit at the edge of your seat? No. The mystery is gone. The tension has evaporated. There's nothing left to discover. When a man tells everyone everything immediately, his entire history, his insecurities, his dreams, his fears, his philosophy on every subject before anyone asks, he becomes that movie. Finished. Completely known. No tension remaining. The Stoics called this speaking less than necessary. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But the reverse is also true. People imagine more than reality often delivers. A man of few words allows others to fill in the blanks, and they always fill them with something larger than the truth. This is the mystery premium. Women, and people in general, pay attention longer to what they cannot fully understand. They lean in toward what feels slightly out of reach. They pursue what doesn't pursue them. The quiet man benefits from this automatically. Because he speaks less, people wonder more. What is he thinking? Why did he smile at that? What does he know that he's not saying? These questions create psychological engagement that no amount of talking could manufacture. Here is how to leverage this. When you're in conversation, share less than you want to. Answer questions without over-explaining. Let silences exist without rushing to fill them. Allow people to be curious. Give them something to wonder about later. The foolish man tries to be understood. The wise man allows himself to be discovered. Principle 4. The weight of words. There is an economic law that applies to far more than money. The law of scarcity. When something is abundant, its value plummets. When something is rare, its value rises. Diamonds are not valuable because they're beautiful. There are beautiful things everywhere. Diamonds are valuable because they're scarce. Your words work exactly the same way. The man who speaks constantly, who comments on everything, who shares every thought, who narrates his reactions aloud, has created abundance. And abundance breeds contempt. His words carry no weight because they're everywhere. No one leans in when he speaks because they know more words are always coming. But the man who speaks rarely, when he opens his mouth, room's quiet. People lean in. Attention sharpens. Because there's an unconscious recognition. If this man is choosing to speak, it must matter. His scarcity has created value. His silence has made his words expensive. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in human history, Emperor of Rome, was known for listening far more than speaking. He surrounded himself with advisors, philosophers, and generals. And he listened. He absorbed. He observed. But when Marcus Aurelius spoke, civilizations moved. That's the power of word scarcity. Here is your application, and this requires discipline. Before you speak, ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said by me right now? If the answer to any of these is no, stay silent. Not because silence is always comfortable. It won't be. But because every unnecessary word you don't say adds weight to the words you do. Speak like your words cost you something. Because they do. They cost you respect if you waste them. Principle 5, the anchor principle. I want you to imagine something. A woman has had a terrible day. Her work was chaos. Her family stressed her. Her mind is spinning with 100 problems. She feels overwhelmed, anxious, and scattered. She walks into a room where 2 men wait. The first man senses her energy and immediately matches it. He becomes anxious because she's anxious. He mirrors her chaos. His energy rises and falls based on hers. He's empathetic, sure, but he's not stable. The second man notices her energy, acknowledges it, but does not absorb it. He remains calm. Not cold, there's warmth in his eyes, but unmoved by the storm she's carrying. He's present, but anchored. And something fascinating happens in her nervous system. She begins to regulate. Not because he fixed her problems, he hasn't said a word about solutions, but because his stability gives her nervous system permission to stop fighting. His calm becomes contagious. This is the anchor principle. People do not respect those who match their chaos. They respect those who contrast it. The foolish man believes empathy means mirroring. If she's angry, he gets angry. If she's worried, he worries. If she's dramatic, he joins the drama. And while this feels like connection, it's actually abdication. He's not providing anything she doesn't already have. The Stoic man provides what's missing. He's the steady frequency that unstable frequency is attuned to. He's the deep water that choppy surfaces eventually calm into. He's the anchor that prevents ships from smashing against rocks. Epictetus taught, we cannot control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. But here's the advanced understanding. When you adjust your sails well enough, when your vessel becomes stable enough, other ships start following your direction. Practical application. When someone around you becomes emotionally reactive, do the opposite of your instinct. Instead of matching their energy, drop your own. Slow your breathing. Lower your voice slightly. Create contrast, not harmony. Become the calm they can attune to. This is what real masculine presence feels like. Not dominance. Not coldness. Simply stability in a world that offers very little of it. And few things are more attractive than being someone's anchor without trying to be their captain. Principle 6, the observer's advantage. Here is the final principle, and it might be the most powerful. The man who talks is busy performing. The man who listens is busy learning. While the loud man expends energy projecting an image, the quiet man absorbs information. He notices who leans in toward whom. He sees what topics make people's eyes light up. He observes body language, patterns, inconsistencies, hidden tensions. He gathers intelligence that talkers completely miss. This is the observer's advantage. And it creates something that women and all people sense immediately. When you've been truly watching someone, when you've been actually paying attention instead of waiting for your turn to speak, you understand them in ways they don't expect. You remember the small details they mentioned once. You notice when their mood shifts before they announce it. You catch what they meant beneath what they said. This creates a feeling of being seen. And here's what most men don't understand. Being seen is the deepest currency of human connection. More than being impressed. More than being entertained. More than being convinced. People want to be truly witnessed. The quiet man can offer this because his silence has given him the space to actually observe. While others performed, he watched. While others talked about themselves, he studied. And when he finally does engage, when he references something specific, something subtle, something only someone paying attention would catch, it lands with extraordinary impact. Seneca wrote, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. But understanding requires observation, and observation requires silence. Here is your practice. In your next 3 conversations, speak 20% less than you normally would. Use the extra space to actually watch the person you're talking to. Notice their micro-expressions. Notice their word choices. Notice what subjects they avoid. Then, reference one small detail that shows you were truly present. Watch what happens to their face. Watch how they lean toward you. Watch how you become, to them, someone different from everyone else they've talked to today. That is the power of quiet. The transformation. Let me bring this full circle. You've now learned 6 principles that ancient philosophers understood and modern men have forgotten. The gravity effect, that true presence attracts without chasing. Emotional sovereignty, that mastery over reaction is the highest form of strength. The mystery premium, that restraint creates fascination. The weight of words, that scarcity generates value. The anchor principle, that stability in chaos is the rarest gift you can offer. The observer's advantage, that the one who watches learns what the one who talks never will. These are not tricks. These are not manipulations. These are principles of internal transformation that change how you move through the world. And here is the final truth. The quiet man that women respect is not a performance. You cannot fake stillness when you're chaotic inside. You cannot fake groundedness when you're desperate for approval. You cannot fake depth when you're shallow. This path requires you to actually become what you wish to project. That is the Stoic way. Become the man who speaks with purpose. Become the man who listens without agenda. Become the man who needs no one's validation because he has validated himself. And watch how the world begins to orbit around you, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through the quiet discipline of becoming genuinely magnetic. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling the most powerful empire on earth, wrote in his private journals, "Receive without pride. Let go without attachment." That's the energy. Quiet confidence. Internal completeness. Presence without performance. The path forward is clear. You can continue to exhaust yourself performing for respect that never comes. Or you can stop. Go still. Go inward. And discover that what you've been chasing was waiting inside your silence all along. The choice is now yours. Choose wisely.